Welcome to Wellness Wednesday with Britt. I'm Britt, and this week's theme is Can you live with suffering from a chronic illness and experience joy at the same time? Well, let's find out. So, we're here with Ashley Babcock, and she's been kind enough to join me today to talk about the theme Can you be suffering and be happy at the same time? Thank you so much for joining me, Ashley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to make time for this interview. Let me just go ahead and jump right in. I know you deal with a chronic illness. Can you give me a little bit of your health background?
So I grew up really tired all the time, but I didn't know why, so I kind of thought it was my fault. And eventually I learned that I had a connective tissue disorder. Right now we just call it hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And I also have problems with when I stand up, getting dizzy and passing out from it, or just really struggling to focus. And I also have mast cell activation disorder, so I'm randomly allergic to things. But it's allergic is the closest way to describe it, so we'll just go with that. And essentially, those have affected a lot of my life. I've had surgeries on both of my hands and arms and feet because the connective tissue in them just kind of broke down. And there was a time where my mast cells were so bad that I ended up in the hospital just because, my heart rate was 180, and I just would get really, really sick and lose weight rapidly. Luckily, I found a medication plan that works for me there. So now I'm doing a lot better, and that doesn't happen, which is very good. And yeah, I think that's the main thing. Different things throughout my life have debilitated me at different times. And so it's just kind of been a bit of damage control throughout most of my life. But right now I'm kind of in a more homeostasis place where I'm not doing damage control. So that's a positive.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. It seems like you've definitely had your share of trials and suffering. So to go with our theme today, do you feel that you can be suffering from a chronic illness and still experience joy?
Absolutely. This is something that was really hard for me at first growing up because I felt like it wasn't possible, and I constantly was trying to get better or figure out how to do this better or accomplish this so I could finally be happy. And eventually I just got sick of it because it meant I was not happy most of the time because there was always something going wrong. Like,
Right.
I've just had a crazy life. And so finally I just started paying attention to people that I noticed were happy outside of those circumstances and learning from them. And eventually I built a toolbox where I'm happy almost every day now. I have bad days, I have angry moments, but for the most part, I'm able to find that happiness because I'm doing things that are fulfilling. I'm living a life that I want to live. And even though, I have pain and I have fatigue and I have these problems, they aren't bigger than the things that I'm happy about.
I love that. I think that is truly the secret to it all. You do have to find things that bring you joy and pursue them. And I think a lot of it is a courage aspect. And I mean, we spoke about this a little bit before the interview started, but you obviously have tapped into that inner strength and inner courage. And I really admire that about you.
Oh, thanks. That's very nice of you.
So say somebody is maybe newly diagnosed with a chronic illness, and they're feeling kind of like you used to feel, how I used to feel, just feeling like this is my lot in life and this is where I have to stay. What would be a suggestion what advice would you give to an individual like that?
Well, first of all, I think it's incredibly important to recognize how you're feeling and let it have space and honor that what you're going through is hard and difficult. Because when we suppress those feelings or ignore them or like say, no, I shouldn't feel this way, like they don't go away, but it does make it impossible to deal with them. And so I think it's okay for a time to be sad and to be upset, but also to recognize that your life can move beyond this and that healing from your body physically isn't necessarily the solution to lasting happiness so much as learning to accept your new normal and learn that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. That's from a book I've been reading lately called Personality Isn't Permanent that I love, that everything that happens in your life, no matter how crappy it is, can be for you to help other people. And finding a way to find purpose and just see the good in what's happening. But I think first you have to see the bad and just be okay with being sad for a bit.
Definitely. I'd have to agree with you there. And what was the name of that book again?
It's called Personality Isn't Permanent.
Personality Isn't Permanent. I'm going to have to check that out for sure. So before we wrap up, I know that you have a few passion projects that you're working on. Are there any that you would care to share with me today?
Sure. I'm really excited because something about my mom is she's also chronically ill. She had Lyme disease for like a really long time, 10, 12, who knows how many years. And she went through treatment after treatment after treatment, and they worked for a while, but they didn't last. And when my dad divorced my mom, it was a very stressful situation. It just wasn't getting better. We're not angry or anything, to be clear. But when that happened, a woman from Arizona decided to stay with my mom in exchange for, they would clean the house. She would clean the house in exchange for rent. And she supported my mom like she's never felt supported before. It made her feel believed and listened to and gave her hope. And after the next treatment she went through, she finally went into remission. And she got out of a torturous state. And it made us realize that, when we focus on healing from really bad chronic diseases, we just focus on the physical aspect. But for healing to really take place, we need to do something radical and different than anything we've done before, because most of the time it doesn't work. And so Emily's Place is focused on creating a place that first allows people to rest completely. Right now we have a woman named Robin living with us. When my mom invited her, she was days to live with us. She was days from ending her life because she was so abused and so hopeless and in so much torture from Lyme that even the opening the windows caused her to be tortured. And just by coming here, my mom talked her down from it because she was able to feel hope, and a lot of the symptoms that were the worst for her went away. And now we're working with her to get back her life, get through treatment, and be able to live on her own again. And we really believe that, it takes new ideas to do stuff that doesn't really work. Mm-hmm. And with Lyme disease, treatment a lot of times doesn't work. And so we're trying to create something new to help women and families and people, just be able to thrive where they are and be independent and have that healing that everybody wants, because nobody wants to be dependent and living on other people's money for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. So you said that the name of this new program or new organization that you and your mom have created is called Emily's Place?
Yes. And that's after the woman that stayed with my mom. She's lovely. She actually left for about a year to learn how to counsel troubled teens. And she came back just 2 days ago in our van to use what she learned about counseling troubled teens to help us help people get out of trauma and get back on with their lives. The people living in Emily's Place, she's helping everyone in our family. She's wonderful. And yeah, because there's kind of two parts to Emily's Place. Is part of it's for the single woman that has nowhere to go, but also for the family. And she's kind of experiencing on us because our family's been chaotic for a long time and we haven't functioned well. And she's implementing these ideas from this troubled teens camp that she worked at for over a year to like help our family be stronger together too.
That's awesome. I love that. So is there a website, or is it best to reach out through the Instagram account to learn more about Emily's Place?
If you want to learn more about Emily's Place, the best place is emily'splacetheone.org. It's just THEONE.org. There's a lot about what we do, kind of the history behind it, and we're working to build that into something that people can understand. We definitely do need donations right now because it is a single mom and her daughter basically starting this, and I know that it can change people's lives and it's what people need and that it's going to grow to be something so big, but we don't have a lot of money, so any support is very helpful.
Yeah, you're at the grassroots stage right now.
Yes.
I love it. You know what? It sounds like it has a lot of potential to be very impactful in many people's lives, and I will definitely be linking that at the end of this interview episode. You know, Ashley, it has just been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. You have a very lovely personality and a great outlook on life, and I am very honored to have met you virtually, of course. And I wish you so much success. I know you're starting school here very shortly, so I wish you much success in that and anything else that you set your mind to, because you have a great you have a great foundation that you've built for yourself, and that's awesome. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Of
It's
course.
a pleasure.